You're listening to XVGM Radio. Welcome to XVGM Radio, where the bits keep coming. I'm Justin.
And I'm Mike.
And this is episode 126. We're doing a deep dive on human entertainment. And that's not just entertainment for humans, that's the name of a company.
That's right, Justin. They're a company which doesn't get a lot of recognition. They're most well known for two different franchises, which we'll get into in a bit. But overall, they make a lot of weird games. And so I figured, let's showcase them.
Yeah.
And their music. So specifically this intro track, which is from a game called Vasteel, or Vasteel, or Vasteel.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm going with Vasteel.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
It's Vasteel, and it's not no separation. It's all just one word.
That's
so
right.
Vasteel sounds correct.
This came out in the TurboGrafx CD in 1990, and this track was Crusade, and it's composed by Ryoji Amano and Takahiro Wakuta. So before we get into like who Human Entertainment were development-wise, we're going to talk about their history in a bit, but I figure we'll just jump right into it and talk about this song, which has an interesting mix of music. Overall, this soundtrack has a lot of like heavy metal references in it. And, it's kind of chuggy here and there in this. But For the most part, I think the biggest draw for me was that saxophone. But what's weird about it is I couldn't make it out as to whether or not it was a real sax or if it was like a sampled sax.
I think it's sampled only because the credits list a number of musicians and they don't list a saxophonist. So
Okay.
I'm going to guess that it was sampled or something like that, like done on a keyboard.
That makes sense.
But yeah, the saxophone is definitely kind of one of the things that drew me in as well. On top of the fact that there are not the entire song as a whole, but there are sections and portions of this song that just have a major Castlevania vibe to me.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. Yeah, not necessarily the initial part, but as the track moves on, I could see that.
Like it kind of like moves in and out of those kind of vibes, and it's wild because there are times where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is totally a Castlevania track, like maybe Portrait of Ruin, or I couldn't even pinpoint a specific game that it feels like, just like the series overall. And then it kind of flows away, and I'm just like, okay, this is something different. And then it comes back to a different Castlevania vibe.
Right.
I like the way that it does that. I mean, I also really enjoyed the guitar that they had in there, very shreddy. Like you said, there's a lot of metal
influences. I don't know.
Influences. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of metal sounding stuff in this, which I mean is great for a game that came out in 1990 on the TurboGrafx CD.
They really tried to push making music with like redbook audio, with real instrumentation, because they had the technology to do it. So like, why not? As far as this particular game goes, I don't know if it fits with the type of music that's coming out of it. I don't know. Maybe you can be the judge on that one, but this is a top-down like strategy, like a strategy game. It's hex based, and it's very much like a war strategy game. There's a lot of like government related things. It all, of course, takes place in space in a solar system called Vestile, and it takes place on a planet called Belows. The ruler of the Farisia dynasty was kind of like the ruling class for hundreds of years. And I guess the last person that they had running the government was not a great person, And so they decided, hey, we're going to make some changes. There's a war that takes place between two brothers who are trying to gain the power to do what it is that they wish to do with the government. So that's what goes down. So there's two different brothers, Stefan or Falil. And I know what you're thinking, because
Stefan Urkel,
that's immediately get out of my head, Charles.
I mean, I saw where you were going, because I went there immediately.
Yeah, when you do a podcast with somebody for 125 episodes, you tend to get in somebody's head, and Justin has burrowed himself into my brain to steal my Family Matters references. But so this one's weird though, because unlike most strategy games where it's like, there'll be a fight on the map itself, this transports you to like, the only thing I could compare it to is like King of the Monsters. It's like this weird kind of really basic version of King of the Monsters where instead like there's two people battling, these two robots battling, and whoever wins obviously like wins that section or wins that hex or whatever. So so it's very action oriented, unlike most, traditional strategy games. Yeah, so it's pretty neat in that regard. The cutscenes, they don't look great. I'll be honest. Like it's like still images. Like everything that I've seen from it is just like really basic looking. I'm sure for 1990 it looked great. Maybe this was on the level of like PCs back then. I'm not sure, but I think they tried their best. Personally, I think this could probably fit on like a Sega Genesis. That's what it looks like. Look at an early Sega Genesis game.
Maybe. I feel like the art for the cutscenes reminds me of some of the later Sierra games, not like the earlier King's Quest, like 1 and 2, where there's a lot blocky, but maybe like King's Quest 7. I'm trying to remember how many there were. But some of the later games where it was still, 256 colors or something.
Yeah.
So, they were limited in what they could do with the graphics, but it was, I mean, the faces of these people look relatively smooth.
Speaking of the faces, I'm looking at a photo, which is the two sons, right next to each other, and I can't help but think of Devil May Cry.
Oh, yeah.
Like the one in red
Dante and
looks
Virgil?
like, Dante, and the one in blue looks like Virgil.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, Capcom obviously doesn't have any kind of reference for this, so I don't know. Maybe the developers were big fans of Bastille. Who knows?
Maybe.
And those are two brothers too who were fighting.
Oh, are they? I know very little about the Devil May Cry series.
I'm almost positive that Dante and Virgil
are brothers.
I know I'm almost positive they're either brothers or half brothers, and they fight at one point, if I recall.
Yeah, 'cause didn't they didn't introduce Virgil until like the
I think number
game?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think 3. I can't remember. Anyways, the composers on this, Ryoji Amano, really doesn't have too many credits for like gaming in general, but his only credit for music is this game, Bastille. And Takahiro Wakuta has a bit more in the way of credits, starting off with HAL Wrestling for the Game Boy, Super Soccer, The Adventures of Gilligan's Island on NES, Kabuki Quantum Fighter, Ultraman, Kendo Rage, bunch of different games. And their last game actually ended with Tetris with Card Captor Sakura Eternal Heart, which came out in 2000 on the PS1, and then they were done with making video games. The way we're going to go about doing this is chronologically. We've done that in previous episodes, kind of here and there. It seems like we've
been inconsistent.
Yeah, very inconsistent. But this time around, we're going to go with chronologically released, aside from this track,
right?
Which came out a year after.
The intro is always a wild card.
Yeah. So what do you got? Because you're up first.
Yeah, so my first track here is going to be a game called Monster Party. This came out in the NES in 1989. The track is called Living Dead by T. Mikumo and Masaki Hashimoto. Hey, all right. That was Living Dead Girl, minus the girl, by Rob Zombie, minus the Rob Zombie. That was from Monster Party, the 1989 NES game, or was it NES? Or
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if it actually came out in America. And
It
I
did.
Just realized.
It's such a weird game that makes sense. That's an appropriate thing to say.
Fair. And the composers on it were T. Mikumo and Masaki Hashimoto.
Yeah. First off, I really dig this, like, period.
That's good. I was afraid that it's a very minimalist kind of track, and in the past I've played some minimal tracks, and sometimes you like them, but a lot of times I feel like they're just very empty. So not that I was afraid you were going to hate it, but I was just like I didn't think this was going to be one that you were going to enjoy. So I'm happy to hear that you liked it.
Part of it is I'm a sucker for anything with like Japanese style sounding music.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty convinced at this point that like I was previously a Japanese man or woman, living my life in Japan, died terribly, and then got reincarnated as a white Jewish fat dude. So, nice. that's my struggle. But yeah, I'm a sucker for anything with like traditional sounding like Japanese instruments, which this very much is a very Japanese sounding song, like traditional Japanese music. You could almost hear like the kabuki kind of like, what? And like the little gong 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 gong, like types of instruments,
the wood block and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's why I picked it. Like you hit the nail right in the head there. The other thing that it kind of reminds me of, and it's not really Japanese per se, but it reminds me of some of the music in the NES game Kung Fu Heroes.
Okay. This game is interesting because it is a little bit like Castlevania in a way, in the sense that it's kind of an homage and a bit of a parody to horror.
That makes sense.
It's got some pop culture references of the time. Yeah, it's got some really silly English in it, where characters say some things that you're just it's a very humorous game. There's also lots of Japanese like folklore and like urban legends type stuff. There's like Bancho Sariashiki, which is like a ghost story, like Japanese ghost story. And also Jinmenkins, which are Japanese folklore characters as well. Yeah, it's like human-faced dogs, basically.
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with those.
But then there's also like weird stuff like Venus flytraps and stuff like that. You know, on the cover of the game, at least the NES version, there's all like classic monster movies like the Medusa and
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, Dracula, Creature of the
Audrey
Black
2.
Yeah. Audrey, yeah, that's it, Audrey 2. So
yeah, interesting.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean the story is kind of interesting too because you're a young man with a baseball bat. Your name is Mark. You're coming home from a baseball game. You encounter a monster named Bert. Bert needs your help in saving his planet from the evil monsters. So he's a good monster.
Okay.
And you learn how to fuse with Bert and become a monster fighting gargoyle. And most of the game attacking bad guys by swinging your bat at them or volleying their fire. And it's a side scroller. It's being compared to Super Mario Brothers, but I think your reference to Castlevania is a little bit more apt.
This one, I think, is a pretty difficult game. So there's some cryptic moments in it. It's also, there's a lot of blood in this game, and there's also some questionable language that it's surprising that it got past like Nintendo's like censorship lawyers. So yeah, because they were pretty strict about that sort of thing. Interesting. There was also a prototype that leaked in the 2000s, which had even more like content in the game that never made it overseas. It just never made it to, even Japan, which is kind of neat. Like the prototype screenshots that have been released in the 2000s. Pretty neat. Yeah. So no, this is not a movie license tie-in with the movie Monster Party.
The Macaulay
Culkin movie that came out like a decade later.
Oh my god.
It is not.
That would be a really crazy video game.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet Living Dead Girl from Rob Zombie would be a track in that movie.
Oh, probably.
Or in this game. Yeah. Now I want to hear an 8-bit rendition of Living Dead Girl.
I'm sure it exists.
I'm sure, yeah.
I'm just looking through some of the screenshots, and there's one where it looks like you're fighting a monster that is kind of like a headless horseman. There's a jack-o'-lantern on the head, and then there's like a white sheet for the body. And there's a dialogue box coming from the monster that says, "Please don't pick on me."
Yeah,
Wild.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's got a good sense of humor. It's very silly. So
a number of the composers that we're going to talk about they're on.
We're going to talk about them a few times.
So I'm just going to talk about Team Ikumo real quick.
Okay.
So Team Ikumo is credited on 5 games. So started out doing music on Michael Andretti's World GP in 1988. Went on to do Top Rider in 1988, Motocross Champion in 1989, Monster Party in 1989, and the last game that they are credited here for is Venus Senki in 1989.
Which happens, Justin, to be our next track.
Oh my,
segue.
what a segue.
What a segue.
Almost like I planned it.
I am impressed. I chose well
You
for
did.
a co-host. I chose well. Venus Senki is our next game. This is a Famicom exclusive that came out in 1989. Track 6 is the name of our song that we're about to play you, and it's by Masaki Hashimoto and T. Mikumo. right, welcome back to our Human Entertainment Spotlight. That was Venus Senki, the Famicom game that came out in 1989. Masaki Hashimoto and T. Mikumo once again composing a track for us called Track 6. I like this one. It's very driving. It also feels like there's something about to go down, you know? Okay. I don't know if this is like a level, like an in-game level.
Yeah.
On this, I'm not entirely sure.
That's one of the things that's always unfortunate when it's just track numbers, because sometimes the track names give you a little bit of a clue as to, you know, where it takes place or what's going on. And track 6 is just, you know, it's a track in the game.
Yeah.
I dug it. It wasn't simple. It was definitely more full and more stuff going on than the track that I played. But I don't know. There was something about it where it kind of felt like a transitional piece or like an intermediary. I got a little bit of like the Zelda dungeon theme out of the bass line going on there, which was cool. There's like do 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 do
yeah.
do do do. But yeah, other than that, I enjoyed kind of the overall melody. I feel like it could have gone somewhere, and it didn't. So it felt more just, like I said, like a transitional piece, something between scenes or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, bit of a somber track too, as far as the melodies go. This game is actually based on the anime movie called Venus Wars.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. I think most of us, you know, in our post 30s. Early 40s have seen a bunch of Saturday morning anime on like Sci-Fi Channel, and Venus Wars was one of the ones that I remember. It takes place in the year 2089 AD, and it is after a planet called Venus has been made habitable, which we all know, the planet Venus. There is two beings, Ishtar and Aphrodite, that fought for the dominance of the planet. Now seems like history is kind of repeating itself. Hound, which is a rebel biker group, is setting out to free the city from Ishtar, who is suppressing the planet. And it's a strategy game, but interestingly enough, similar to Vesteel, this one has a character riding on a bike, and you have to shoot a specific amount of enemies without getting hurt.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that, but it's got like a top-down map and everything. So pretty neat. I've not played this one, obviously, but I don't know. The graphics don't look very impressive, truth be told. A lot of the colors are very muted. A lot of the effects on the graphics look pretty plain. All the character models for the like photos in it look very simplistic. So I don't think I would play this one, but I still think it's really cool that like a game exists for Venus Wars.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it didn't get very good reviews as well. Abandoned Times magazine gave it a 55% score, so kind of rough.
That is low.
Yeah. But so it's got racing and driving, it's got strategy, it's got a little action here and there, and it's an RPG, so it's got a little bit of everything. I don't really have much else to say about the game or the song, but I guess now is a good time to talk about Masaki Hashimoto.
Sure.
Since we already covered the other composer. So Masaki Hashimoto started off with Michael Andretti's World GP in 1988, then Fire Pro Wrestling Combination Tag in 89, Monster Party, which we just talked about, Venus Senki, Super Soccer in 1990 on the TurboGrafx 16, Gilligan's Island, Kabuki Quantum Fighter, Ultraman was their last game on the Sega Genesis, so in 1993 they stopped composing for video games. While we have a little bit of time, I figure we'll talk a little bit about Human Entertainment.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, so they were formed via a merger between two companies called Tri Company Limited and Communicate Incorporated in 1987. Human Entertainment was initially actually called Sonata, so I think both Venus Senki as well. I know Monster Party for sure. I'm not sure about Venus Senki, but Monster Party was released under that Sonata label.
Yes.
But it is still considered Human Entertainment because all it was a name change. So they mostly handled ports from larger developers like Konami and Bandai. I wonder maybe that's why we had some of that Castlevania sound in Vesteel.
Yeah, perhaps. I'm not sure if
Konami
they
influence.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they lent any sort of resources.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I just meant like if they were porting games for Konami, maybe they did a port of Castlevania at some point, and there was an influence on the composers.
Oh yeah, possibly.
So that'd be cool if that's true. If not, it's headcanon to me now. But so after about 2 years of that, in 1989, it saw them change the name to Human Entertainment. So actually, Vinasenki could have been, it could have been Monster Party was under Sonata, and then when they released Vinasenki, they had already changed their name.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because those two games came out within months of each other. Right. So it's a possibility that one came out under Sonata and the other came out under Human Entertainment.
Yeah, that'd be wild. When they changed the name to Human Entertainment, they started working on their own IPs. Their most well-known properties are Clock Tower and Fire Pro Wrestling, both of which we will likely touch on at some point in this episode. Yeah.
They also dabbled in a video game creating school during the 1990s, which is where a lot of their development staff came from. And in 1999, Human Entertainment declared bankruptcy, unfortunately. And many of their staff formed new studios, such as 5PB, the makers of, I believe, either the publishers or the developers of Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds. So, good to know for that one. Nude Maker, SNEO, Sandlot, Suzak, Vile, and perhaps most notably, Grasshopper Manufacturer, headed by ex-Human staff member Goichi Suda, better known as Suda51. There were also two studios created as a joint venture between Bandai and NEC. So Bandai and Human Entertainment formed BEC, and NEC created Hunex with Human. While Hunex is still operational to this very day, in 2011, BEC was merged into Bandpresssoft to create a new company, BB Studio. So a lot of these same developers are still working in the industry, just under different names, different companies, aside from Hunex, who is still bringing games overseas and bringing games to life.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. So it's nice to see that. I mean, it's unfortunate that Human Entertainment shut down. The rights to Clock Tower and Fire Pro Wrestling, I believe, got sorted out and distributed elsewhere. Clock Tower, I'm not sure if it went back with the original developer, the
team.
Yeah, either the team or whatever. But I do know that Capcom published Clock Tower 3. I don't know if they developed it, but they published it on the PS2. And Clock Tower also got a remake or reboot, sort of, later on the Switch, PS4, etc., etc. So that's it. We talked about the composers. We talked about the company. Let's get into my next pick. Again, this is not going to be back and forth necessarily because of the way it kind of shook out for our picks. Kabuki Quantum Fighter, one of my favorite games on the NES, is what we're playing next. This came out in 1990, and this track is called Stage 3. It's by Takahiro Wakuta and Masaki Hashimoto. Welcome back, fellow Kabukis. That was Kabuki Quantum Fighter, track 3 or stage 3 on the NES. Came out in 1990. I love this game. It composed by Takahiro Wakuta and Masaki Hashimoto. What did you think of this track?
So it was pretty neat. I found it very driving. They're just parts of this that remind me of one of the songs from Mega Man. I enjoyed the melody. I haven't played this game, but I have seen your review on it, and it seems like a pretty cool game. And I remember it looking really fun. Just not a game that I would have ever found and picked up in my life.
I think I played it like when I was really into emulation in the early 2000s. Our mutual friend Brian and I would just like share games with each other, and he found this one, and I played it and I fell in love with it. And so years and years later, I didn't actually own it. Years later, I ended up picking up a complete in box copy of it for $10 at a swap meet, in New Jersey somewhere. And I got it home and was just like played through it like in one shot. I just like loved it.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is definitely like kind of a tricky game, like kind of difficult, but like it's a lot of fun. It's a side-scrolling action game. It takes place in the year 2056, and there is a virus that has infiltrated the defense computer of Earth. And so nobody knows where it came from, but your mission is playing as 25-year-old Colonel Scott O'Connor, who's a military agent. He gets his brain transferred into the computer as raw binary code, and somehow that transitions him into a self-image of his great-great-grandfather, who was apparently a kabuki actor.
Ah.
Sure. That is the correct response. So you are going through all these levels, and they're becoming more and more like really kind of creepy, like creepy alien vibes, going throughout the entire game. There's not too many levels. I think maybe 5 or 6 levels or so. And it's really fun. It's got a lot of influence from games like Ninja Gaiden, where it's like got a lot of platforming aspects where you have to grab onto platforms and jump using, like, you can either press and hold the jump button to jump really high up, or like just tap it just so you can like move from platform to platform. This level is the level that feels very much like a speedrun level, in the sense that I always tried to get up to the top. It's like you're just climbing over and over trying to get to the top, almost like a Metroid level kind of in a way, where like you're trying to climb to the top. Everything's trying to kill you. So your main attack is your hair, your kabuki hair.
Yeah, you whip your hair back and forth, don't you?
You do. Yes, Willow Smith, you do. This obviously influenced Shantae as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But this game actually has other weapons too. If you press, I think it's start or select or whatever, each level you get a new weapon when you beat a boss. So it's all based on chips, like chip technology. So you get the Doritos gun, the Lay's gun, the barbecue,
the Cape Cod.
Yeah, the Cape Cod. Yeah. No,
Extra crunchy.
You get the energy gun, the fusion gun, the quantum bombs, and remote control bolo.
Okay.
Really cool. Cannot recommend this one enough. Interestingly enough, the Famicom version was designed as a tie-in to a movie called Zapang, which came out in 1990. And instead of playing as Scott O'Connor, you're playing as a 15-year-old kid named Bobby Yano, who transforms into his ancestor, who is a samurai, named Jikogu Gokurakumaru. So that's where you enter into a supercomputer and you have to like clear it of viruses and stuff like that. So all of those movie references to that character were removed when it came overseas. So the story doesn't make much sense, truth be told. It's half-baked for sure.
Yeah, a lot of those were.
But like when you transition to the character, there's all this text that scrolls. It's like nonsense text.
Yeah, I saw that.
And like, I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, did my game just glitch? I thought it like,
Yeah. But it's probably that was probably the intent, like to give you the feeling of the virus that's attacking these computer systems.
Yeah. That makes sense. I love this track. It's just really driving, very like chuggy. Like I picture like a heavy metal cover of this, like the digga 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 like that. And I just love like when everything drops out and it's just the drums. It's just so cool.
Nice.
Takahiro Wakuta was the other composer other than who we already talked about. So we'll bring them up briefly. How Wrestling was their first game in 1990 on the Game Boy. And they did Kendo Rage on the Super NES, Ultraman on multiple systems, Super NES, arcade. They also worked on Vesteel.
Oh, yeah.
So we did kind of already talk about them, so we can move on.
All right. Next up, we're going to be traveling 2 more years forward to 1992. The game is called Human Splendor. Sports Festival. This is on the PC CD. The track is just known as Track 9, and it was composed by Hiroshi Fujioka, Yoshiaki Kubotera, Isao Mizoguchi, and Masanori Hikichi. All right, welcome back to our Human Entertainment Developer Deep Dive here on XVGM Radio. That was Human Sports Festival, the PC-CD Japan-exclusive game that came out in 1992. Track 9 was the title, and it was composed by Hiroshi Fujioka, Yoshiaki Kubotera, Isao Mizoguchi, and Masanori Hikichi. Very kind of an uplifting track. I mean, aside from all the other craziness that was in it, it definitely had one of those, like, yeah, we're doing it kind of endings. But I like a lot of just the choices that they made throughout the track. Like that sax in the beginning was a lot of fun. I like hearing, a saxophone in video game music because it's just not super common as far as I'm concerned. That shreddy guitar synth that they were using was a lot of fun. And on top of that, like it definitely was a synth, which is why when you mentioned the tremolo picking, I was like, yeah, so not only do they have like a really cool sound, they're also imitating this technique through MIDI or keyboard or however they're doing the synth.
Really hard to do tremolo picking in MIDI. Yeah, for sure. That really stood out to me, like to the point where I was like, oh, tremolo picking. I thought that was cool. I also really liked the more laid back vibe on this. Like it almost could be something that's played on KVGM radio if it wasn't for those squeedly.
I was going to say if it wasn't for the high energy pieces.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Hammock,
there is other stuff on, like, if you are listening, Hammock, check the soundtrack out, because there's some stuff in here that I think if you haven't already played or if you didn't already know about, you might be into. So
indeed,
give it a good old listen.
Yeah. So how is this human sports festival? Is it like, are you doing a sports festival and like the balls that you're using are actual humans, or or is it just like aliens, robots? What is it?
No, I think it's called Human Sports Festival because it was made by Human Entertainment. So
I figured.
They have a couple of games that are just like human something or other.
Yeah.
But it is a compilation like sports game. So there are three. It says 3 previously unreleased sports games, which confuses me, just the wording of that. So there are 3 games in this sports game. There's Fine Shot Golf, Formation Soccer Human Cup 92, and Final Match Tennis Ladies, which is almost a companion to another game called Final Match Tennis, which I think is a game all to itself. Yeah. It's another Human Entertainment game, came out in 1991.
Okay.
So there are three other sports games. They look kind of neat. I mean, Formation Soccer, it's a top-down soccer game that allows you to choose an international team from several European and American ones. You have formation that you can set, goaltender behavior, you can customize all that stuff. There's no detailed player management or anything, so it's really just kind of, you pick your team and then you customize, how you want your goalie to be and formations that you're using. Then you've got Fine Shot Golf, is a golf game for up to 4 players, and it's got exhibition, tournament, and practice mode. Yeah, you can choose club types, like most golf games. And the game is played from a first-person perspective and requires you to stop a moving bar at the correct moment to regulate the strength of the shot. Again, as most golf video games tend to work. And then Final Match Tennis Ladies, like I said, is a companion to Final Match Tennis. It features notable female tennis players with the names slightly altered, so it wouldn't be like Serena Williams. It might be Selena Williams.
Right.
That's not an actual example because...
Or Selena Williams.
Yeah, oh gee. That just sounds...
wrong.
Yeah, it sounds misogynistic.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, so I mean, it's something that they do a lot in some of the Japanese sports games where they're not actually licensed to use the names. It's like it's very clearly that name, but with like 1 or 2 letters changed.
Right.
So
okay,
you can choose one of the 3 available tennis court types, as well as going through the Australian Open tournament, controlling one competitor in a cup style system.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it looks pretty neat. A lot of the screenshots that I have here are kind of like screenshots of the different ladies. It looks like the golf game. I'm not sure if you're only picking female characters, but all the screenshots are just like there's a young lady standing in a skirt watching somebody play. There's another young lady in a different skirt. with a golf club.
They're all in skirts.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
In fact, all the ladies that I'm seeing here, I mean, especially in the tennis thing, because that's like the women's tennis uniform.
Even the men are wearing skirts.
Ah, that'd be funny. Mm-hmm. They're called kilts, actually.
Oh yeah. I mean, or skirts. Kilts are long, and often
that's
associated with Scottish.
Yeah, and it's usually one piece of fabric that you wrap around you as a skirt. Yes.
Right.
The game itself looks pretty interesting. What do we say this was on? PC CD? Yeah. So not it was Japanese exclusive. So not that we couldn't emulate it, but not anything we would have seen over here.
So Justin's going to go track down a PC CD so we can PC Engine CD so you could play this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That sounds like me.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we've got 4 composers on this, and that means I'm just going to kind of go through them quickly, picking out a couple of credits per person. So Hiroshi Fujioka started on music composition uncredited in War Song in 1991 on the Genesis. We're going to go with this one because it's funny. It's a not safe for work game called White Clarity in 2005 on the PlayStation 2. They did composition and lyrics, and most recently in 2010...
Wait, why is that not safe for work?
It's just labeled as NSFW.
Oh, okay.
I don't know particularly why. I assume there is some kind of nudity or adult themes. So that's all we'll get to in that. And their most recent credit is for Idol Janshi Suchi Pi 4 in 2010 on the PSP, also in 2007 on the PS2. So I'm guessing the PSP was just a port, and they are credited for music and arrangement.
Okay.
Next up, we have Yoshiaki Kubotera. Started out doing music in Ys 3, Wanderers from Ys, in 1991 on the Genesis. They did music and sound effects in 2002 on the PlayStation 2 for a game called Aired, Nezu no Ki no Shita De. And most recently, they did music composition in 2014 on a Nintendo 3DS game called Steel Empire.
Oh, yeah.
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 Good tunes on that one.
Yeah. Isao Mizoguchi started out doing music. Wow, this is a long one. Started out doing music in 1989, uncredited on Operation Wolf on the NES. And then we come up to the middle here, and we've got music producer for Graduation for Windows 95 in 1995 on the Sega Saturn.
Nice.
I didn't know you could run Windows 95 on a Sega Saturn.
Apparently.
And then if we come all the way to the top here, they are credited for lyrics on a whole bunch of songs in a game called Akiba's Beat in 2017 on the PS4. They're also credited for sound production on Lunar Remastered Collection in 2025. That's their most recent credit, but that's not their sound credit. And then lastly, we have Masanori Hikichi, who started out doing music and sound effects on Galaxy Force 2 in 1991 on the Genesis. We will do music composition on Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in 1994. They're uncredited on that under Cube Corp. And most recently, they are... looks like they're doing a lot of sound design and sound composition. We're just going to go with that because I'm not seeing a lot of music here. So sound composer on Turret Girls, which came out in 2025 on Windows.
Cool. So still in it to this day.
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect timing because I was about to go into my next track, but it looks like we're getting a caller request, so we'll take it.
Yeah.
Janine, pass that on over.
XVGM Radio, who is this and what can we play for you?
Hello, this is RoboMike.
RoboMike?
Oh, man, I totally forgot about this guy. So, remember, like, a couple months ago, you were like, I need to take a month off or whatever. I created a robot that was going to, like, co-host the show with me. I was just going to run it just him and I. So, yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing there?
I want to be on the show.
Well, you're on the air. What do you got?
No, I want to be on the show, Justin.
Well,
you can't be.
There's not really enough room at the moment.
You were created and now you're fired, so you need to serve another purpose. How about giving us a track? What do you want to hear?
Fine, I am disappointed. Android Assault, please, for my fellow robots.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, that's the Sega CD game, I think. So thanks, RoboMike, and best of luck to you in your future endeavors.
Yeah, we wish you all the best.
Salutations.
All right, well, whatever. Android Assault, The Revenge of Barry Arm. It came out in the Sega CD in 1993. This track's called Ganymede, and it's by Nobuhiro Makino. All right, that little ditty was from a game called Android Assault: The Revenge of Barry Arm. This came out in the Sega CD in 1993, and that was Ganymede by Nobuhiro Makino.
Nice. That was really upbeat and very poppy.
Very refreshing.
Yeah, when I heard the name of the game, Android Assault: The Revenge of Barry Arm, this is not the type of music that I was expecting to hear at all. I was expecting a little bit more either electronic or something a little bit more grindy or... I don't know.
Techno-y, electronic-y.
Well, not even just that, but like something a little bit more almost sinister. Not something that was like, this felt like almost like a shmup over the water level, we'll say, flying out over the ocean.
Yeah, you're close. I mean,
really?
Yeah, there are a ton of levels where like you're outside. So
is it a shmup?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, nice.
Nailed it.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's side scrolling, just like games like Gradius, R-Type, that type of stuff. You're playing as a space fighter that's piloted by two different pilots, a girl and a guy. In the game itself, there's an alien species called the Zaius. They're trying to kill humans, basically exterminate them. So you're attacking those dudes.
Okay.
Yeah, trying to take them out. It's pretty cut and dry. There are some cutscenes in this, but for the most part, it's just like at the beginning and the end primarily. The cutscenes themselves, if I recall, don't have much in the way of like animation. There's a little bit here and there, like when your ship transitions from a ship to like a robot, sort of thing, like a Gundam sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then like there's a cutscene towards the end where like the two main characters are there just kind of posing, that sort of thing. So yeah, there's a little bit of that. Cool game, cool soundtrack. I really dig this. It was very fun, as you said, very poppy, very floaty, and just like relaxing. It was like a breath of fresh air, just like top down, driving around, blasting this. It was good time. So I'm going to have to put this on my phone.
I was just going to say, I could see me playing this in the car.
This is definitely a summer track. Like, put the windows down. Yeah, nice. I dig it. I don't have much else to say about this one other than the fact that the game's like dumb expensive. So it's often the case with a lot of Sega CD games. I'm going to be honest, I think the Sega CD library is really great. I mean, it's got some clunkers in there, but there's some really incredible games that not only came out for the Mega CD, but also what we got in North America. And this is just one example of a game that came over that like is actually a really cool game.
Nice.
But yeah, you're playing it's a shmup, and you have 4 different levels of speed that you can do for your ship. You're also given like a totally automatic weapon, and then you also get a charge weapon as well.
Automatic meaning it fires automatically?
Yeah,
automatic meaning you can hold the button down.
I believe it's fully automatic.
So you don't have to push a button. It's just...
I think you have to hold the button down.
Gotcha.
Right. Thundercracker, Chase Cannon, Burning Wave, and Satellite Bombs are your weapons that you can acquire or use. And they do primarily, like, they'll shoot forwards and backwards, but Burning Wave's the only one that is only firing forwards.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Neat.
Pretty neat. I would recommend burning a copy of it for yourself and playing it, because it's a cool little romp. Just know that it's, obviously challenging because it's a shmup. Nobuhiro Makino is the composer on this one, and this happens to be their first game that they composed for, utilizing Redbook audio on this one for the most part. I didn't hear any kind of evidence of anything FM synth related, so this was all Redbook audio. They followed it up with a game called Jutai Senki, which came out in '93 on the Super NES. And they also did Hyper Iria, which is the Iria Zerum the Animation game. The game-related version of the anime.
Yes.
Did a couple other games, looks like Mahjong titles. Their latest game was Lijai Matsumoto 999, Story of Galaxy Express 999.
Oh.
Yeah, they did an arrangement on that soundtrack.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll get into my next pick here because we're going from 1993 to 1994. The next few are actually going to be all mine, and then we'll close it out with some Mike stuff.
Cool.
Blazing Tornado is the arcade game that we're going to listen to a track from. Wolf's Theme is the name of the track, and it was composed by Hironori Tanaka, Hiroyuki Naka, and Chiyomaru Shikura.
Cool.
All right, welcome back. That was Wolf's Theme from Blazing Tornado, the arcade version of the game. It also came out in the Sega Saturn? Yes. It also came out in the Sega Saturn, but that was 1995. This was 1994. Composers were Hironori Tanaka, Hiroyuki Naka, and Chiyomaru Shikura. And I found this one to just be a fun track overall.
Very waltzy.
Very waltzy. It plays with the tempo a bit. And the castanets are just something that make me kind of laugh. Like, this is, kind of going from a game that came out in 1993 and was using Redbook audio to going to an arcade game. It's funny to hear them going back to, like, the synth and the MIDI. But those castanets stand out because while everything else sounds very synth, the castanets sound like they could be Redbook audio. And it's just a wild mixture to me. But I think my favorite thing about this track was actually just the way that they play with the tempo. Like, they have these very waltzy pieces, and then it gets more exciting, and the tempo speeds up, and you just get, like, what I consider to be, like, the aggressive part of Wolf's theme, and then it slows down again, and it was a fun listen for me.
Yeah, I agree. It was a fun ride. I really like the waltz aspects of this. I am a sucker for anything in the Baroque era of classical, and I love waltzes like this. So it's just very sweeping. I think they did a good job with the instrumentation as well. So
for sure.
I don't know anything about this game. I've never even heard of it, so you'll have to fill me in.
So Blazing Tornado is it's an arcade spin-off of the Fire Pro Wrestling series, which is one of their, we mentioned earlier, it's one of their big names, their big franchises. So it is very in line with the rest of those. You've got that isometric 3/4 view. It's turned so you're actually looking at the ring from one of the corners.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I don't remember what game that was.
So that's, I believe the Fire Pro Wrestling series is all done in that kind of like corner view, but it's different to me because I'm used to like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Those were also done from, the flat edge of the ring. So I don't know that I've played a lot of games where you have this kind of view, but they do over the top action. I mean, it's a wrestling game, so it's meant to be very, dramatic and over the top and crazy and whatnot. So there are 8 different wrestlers representing the fictional Heroic Wrestling Federation, and you have to defeat all the challengers to become the world champion. In addition, there's also versus play where you can play against a real human opponent, and then there's also tag team mode for up to 4 players simultaneously. That's really about it. The rest of the stuff that I see here is kind of just talking about the Saturn home port, which removes the tag team option, because I guess there wasn't a way to do 4 players on the Saturn?
I guess.
Oh. And then you reducing the number of simultaneous players from 4 to 2. But the Saturn version adds 2 different modes, or 2 new modes that weren't in the arcade. Elimination mode, which lets you select up to 4 wrestlers and take on another team of matching size. And then there's Power Battle mode, where you just play as Mega Man. No, you try just defeating as many challengers in a row as possible. So like no breaks.
I'd be curious to know if the Saturn version of this game has Redbook audio.
It's possible. I mean, it came out a year later. I would be almost only a little surprised because I feel like the arcade is where you have more power to do what you want. But at the same time, the way those arcade machines work wouldn't surprise me too much if it was synth on the arcade and then Redbook audio on the Saturn.
Yeah, because it's able to read it off of a disc, so to speak. So, which the arcade does not have, so to speak.
Exactly.
At least not back in the day.
So Hironori Tanaka started out doing music in Final Match Tennis, 1991 TurboGrafx 16 game. We have Super Fire Pro Wrestling in 1991 on the SNES. Human Sports Festival, they're listed for sound. Super Fire Pro Wrestling 2 in 1992. And looks like that's mostly it for the Fire Pro Wrestling games, aside from Blazing Tornado in 94 and 95. And their last credit for audio is 1998's Chaos Heat. They did sound effects on that. Then you've got Hiroyuki Naka, started out doing composition on Dragon's Earth in 1993, SOS in 1993, and Taekwondo in 1994 on the SNES. Oh, cool. Their last composer credit was for this, Blazing Tornado, and then they did sound effects in Human Grand Prix 4 F1 Dream Battle in 1995. And finally, Chiyomaru Shikura started out doing music in Taekwondo in 1994 on the SNES, and they have so many credits here, so we're just going to pick another handful. Composition on Logic Puzzle Rainbow Town in 1996 on the Sega Saturn, lyrics and composition on Memories Off Sorakara in 2004 on the PS2. Lyrics and composition in Steins Gate, My Darling's Embrace in 2011. It's based off of an anime called Steins Gate.
Yep.
Oh, wow. A couple of Steins Gates game. Steins Gate 0 in 2015. And then let's go up to the top here. Most recently credited for the opening theme in Ever 17, The Out of Infinity in 2025. So
Wow, very active.
Yeah, still active, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's move into the next year of 1995. This is a Super Famicom game called Waku Waku Ski Wonder Spur. The track is called Rainbow, and it was composed also by Chiyomaru Shikura, as well as Kaori Takazoe. Hey, welcome back. That was Waku Waku Ski Wonder Spur, the 1995 Super Famicom game. Rainbow was the track, and Chiyomaru Shikura and Kaori Takazoe were the composers.
Man, where do I start with this one? Whoop, whoop. Yeah, right there. What is up with that random noise? The whoop.
I figured you would enjoy that. It's very silly.
It is.
I feel like we've heard that sound in a number of other games, most commonly probably like puzzle games. This track to me feels like a puzzle game
Yes.
track. Almost like something out of the Toe Plant episode we did.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good reference. I would also say like Tetris Battle Gaiden. Kind of remind me of Tetris Attack, or maybe something like one of the Hebereke games, like the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's got that very playful, fun vibe to it, but also like a very frantic kind of track, too. I would imagine this sounds like a stage select or like a character select. That's the vibe that I got from this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think this is a level track.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. I could see it being kind of like a stage or character select or something like that. But again, the main thing that I get out of this is like this feels like a puzzle game, which this is not a puzzle game. This is a skiing game.
Yeah, I was going to say, this looks like Snowboard Kids before Snowboard Kids was Snowboard Kids.
Oh, okay.
Like the character designs and the vibe.
Oh, yes.
It's very like chibi anime, very silly and fun.
Yeah.
You know, like kid friendly. That's the vibe I'm getting from this.
Yeah, and it looks like it uses Mode 7. Like, looking at the actual races, it looks like they took F-Zero and then put people on the track instead of cars.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. I kind of dig it. And it looks very neat. Obviously, we never got this here, so it's not anything that I would have seen or picked up, but might check to see if there's a ROM for emulation with a translation pack or something.
Yeah.
It looks like a pretty fun skiing game. The graphics are good. I mean, it's Super Famicom, so Super Nintendo graphics. And the images that I see here, like the art is really nice.
Yeah.
I'm definitely digging this. The deal with this game is that there's a major ski competition that's being held, and 8 of the best skiers have gathered to show off their skills on the slopes and prove that they are the best in the land. In the main mode of the ski racing game, you're competing on 4 different courses. You earn points after every race is finished, and the higher that you finish, the more points that you earn. So to win the competition, you have to have more points than the competitors after all the races are finished. So you're doing it in 4 races. So if you don't do well in the first 1 or the first 2, you can make it up as long as you do well enough in the others. Yeah. There's also some other modes such as like head-to-head racing versus the computer or player 2. There's also a time trial mode that lets you attempt to get the best times. There's also an editor that lets you edit a character and also courses that you can later race on, which is kind of neat.
It's interesting because development-wise, this is labeled in 2 different ways. On Wikipedia, it's labeled as Human Club, and on Moby Games, it's labeled as Human Entertainment. And I'm wondering, based on this, if this is one of the games that the school developed.
Oh,
maybe they had a couple of the developers throw something together and make it into a game. Maybe that was one of their big projects. And Human Entertainment was like, yep, here we go. Let's publish this stuff that our students made,
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I don't know how, I'm just like theorizing. I'm not like saying that's what happened, but like it makes a lot of sense based on like, if Wiki is correct, then that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
As far as the characters go, I just taking a look at the character select screen. So I mentioned there's 8 characters. It looks like there's 4 just like regular people, and then there's a bunny rabbit, a robot.
There's also a banana dude.
Oh, see, I can't tell what it is because it's just a face, and I was going to say it's a superhero, but I guess it's a banana dude wearing visor glasses.
Yeah.
But that last one, I can't tell if it's like a plant or what.
Kind of looks like Kirby.
Yeah,
a little bit like
like
a star version of Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby in a star costume.
Yeah.
All right,
cool.
Yeah, and so the composer on this one is Kaori Takazoe. And they started out doing music composition in Formation Soccer on J-League in 1994, TurboGrafx 16. They went on to do a handful of things. Looks like they kept working until the mid-2010s. So we've got Clock Tower in 1995 on the SNES. They did sound effects on that. Composition, a Logic Puzzle Rainbow Town in 1996. Background music and Clock Tower 2, The Struggle Within. Then it looks like after that, they went mostly into sound design. They did compositions in Twilight Syndrome, Psy-Kai in 2000 on the PlayStation, but their last credit here is for sound design in Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, 2016 on Windows.
Okay. All right, you got one more track for us, right?
Yeah, this is my last track, and then we got a little bit more coming up. So this game is going to be called Moonlight Syndrome. It was a 1997 PS1 game. The track is called Lost Highway, and the composers that are listed are Mikoto Monomo, Victor Entertainment, and Invitation.
Cool. Let's hit it.
All right, that was my last pick from this Human Entertainment developer deep dive, but we still got a couple more to go. So Moonlight Syndrome was the name of the game. PS1 was the system that it came out on in 1997. Lost Highway was the name of the track, and Makoto Monomo, Victor Entertainment, and Invitation were the composers.
Yeah, okay. This was directed by Goichi Suda, if I recall.
Sure.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
I don't know if I know who that is.
Well, co-written as well. The dude that we talked about earlier, Grasshopper Manufacturer.
Oh, okay.
Did games like Killer 7 and...
Right.
Yeah, and No More Heroes.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. So this song is very repetitive.
Yes.
It's mostly just like a backbeat, like a drum machine backbeat. And then like you'll get random like guitar blast, like a bang sort of thing, which I thought was, I don't know, the whole track, I was like waiting for it to turn into something else and it didn't. So I was like, oh, okay then. This was a choice. The one other thing I wanted to pinpoint about this though, is there's like a dip throughout the track that reoccurs. And I don't know, it doesn't sound to me like it's an intentional choice. You know, it doesn't sound like they were like, oh, let's make the instruments drop out real quick here and then come right back, because it's too quick. You know, normally when you do that, you know, it'll be like, you know, like there'll be a little bit more of a pause. This is like an almost immediate jump back up into that backbeat. So to me, somebody messed up, either in the loop or something, but like it sounds like a CD looping, like a skipping CD
Okay.
to me at points. So yeah,
that's fair. I mean, this one to me, I get what you're saying about you're waiting for something else to happen. That's kind of how I was feeling with. I think it was track 6 for the Venus Senki. One kind of a similar vibe. The things about this track that kind of drew me in. For one, this is very much more of an electronic track as opposed to the types of tracks that we've played so far.
True.
The beat in this one reminds me of. Once again, I'm at a loss for what it specifically reminds me of, but there is a electronic, either EBM, not EDM, but EBM track, or just like a gothic, like electronic rock song that has that exact same beat that's going on. Like
oh,
same
wow.
drum machine, same everything.
Yeah.
And then there's like a melody synth in there that's going on between the beat and the guitar that reminds me of this little like synth that happens in Radio Gaga by Queen. That do.
Yeah.
So, like, something about the combination of things, I was just like, oh, yeah, it's definitely repetitive, and it's kind of a shorter loop, but something about it was just interesting and maybe even just a little bit nostalgic.
Good ear on the Radio Gaga bit.
That was one of the songs by Queen that I was obsessed with as a kid.
Oh, yeah? Okay, good song.
I don't know why.
No, it's a good one.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Real quick, we'll hit this composer, because this is the only game that they're credited for.
Oh, okay.
Makoto Monomo, Moonlight Syndrome is the only thing there. And then the other ones, so for the other composers that are listed, Victor Entertainment and Invitation, I don't actually have more information on them.
Victor Entertainment is a huge entertainment branch, if I recall, in Japan. Oh. So they have like a wealth of composers and
subsidiary
artists.
Of JVC Kenwood?
Yeah. They're like a huge outfit that has a bunch of artists like signed under them. So
interesting.
That's probably a very generic credit.
Yeah, and taking a look at our usual sources here, there are 124 other games listed in those, so we'll just pick a couple here. Star Wars Rebel Assault 1993 on the DOS and Macintosh, and Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Nice. And then Saga Scarlet Grace in 2016. Interesting. They've done a handful of things. I don't have any information on Invitation. I didn't get the invitation.
I didn't get the invitation to talk about Invitation.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, if you know anything, listeners, let us know in our usual social medias or xvgmradio@gmail.com. Send us a clarification, and we'll let everybody know in a future episode.
Yeah. But this game is listed as an adventure game. I know nothing about it, but to kind of read off of what I'm seeing here, there's a teenage girl named Mika who meets a mysterious person on her way home who warns her of horrifying events that are about to happen to her and her friends. More strange events are happening this evening. A canceled meeting, a boy who seems to have followed her, but the next day she almost forgets it until she hears on the news that her schoolmate Kyoko was killed in a truck accident.
Ooh.
Now Mika must find out what is truly happening around her, and so does Ryo, Kyoko's brother, who has been seeing strange dreams lately. That's just kind of of the description intro for it.
Seems like a horror movie.
Yeah. This game is a sequel to the original 2 Twilight Syndrome games.
Oh.
So Moonlight Syndrome has a similarly text-heavy, low-interaction linear gameplay with dialogue and our action choices, which would sometimes influence the course of the narrative. So it seems like it's kind of a
Like
visual novel.
choose your own adventure sort of thing.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
Very, very interesting.
Neat.
But yeah, so that's it for Moonlight Syndrome. Let's kick it over to you. You got another pick in here.
Yeah, and it's a creepy one too, so kind of a precursor to our Spooky Fest episode. This is Clock Tower 2, The Struggle Within, and this came out in the PlayStation 1 in 1998. This track is called Shiver Zombie, and it's by Kaori Takazoe. All right, that was Clock Tower 2, The Struggle Within. This PlayStation 1 game came out in 1998, and it was a track called Shiver Zombie by Kaori Takazoe.
Yar, shiver me zombies.
Arr. So, Clock Tower 2, this was actually the last Clock Tower game that was developed by Human Entertainment directly.
Right.
So, but before we get into the game itself, let me know what you thought about the track.
This was really fun, actually. Not that the other tracks that we played weren't, but I don't really remember the Clock Tower music very well. Like, I've heard... I think we've played some tracks.
We've played some stuff,
Clock Tower game.
On like a Halloween episode.
Yeah, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. And then, I heard those synths come in, and I was like, ooh, okay, we're doing some electronic stuff. It's kind of proto-techno-y. It's funny because I recognize a number of the synths that were used as synths that were also available for use in Fruity Loops, because I've made music with these sounds.
Okay.
And then at some point, I heard, like, clock sounds, like... the pendulum and whatnot, and just other like clock sounds. I was like, oh, hey, there's the clocks from the clock tower.
Yeah, good ear on that. There's also a heartbeat that takes place right between like where an empty spot is in the song. I don't know if you caught that.
I did not.
Yeah, it's like really subtle, but it like kicks off into the, I don't know if that's the loop or if that's just like the next part of the track, but that really stood out to me. This is a song that you would expect to hear on like a really obscure, like Japanese only, really quirky game to me. That's the vibe that I got from this. Not necessarily horror, but I think it works for what it is. This game, I've not played this one. I've only played the first one. But the third game in the series, because the first game was just Clock Tower, and then they remade the game on PS1. And this is a game that has a totally different cast of characters and everything, different story. This time you're playing as a character who is 17 years old. It's a girl named Alyssa Hale, and she has an alter ego in her named Mr. Bates. And so she is going around kind of going back and forth between like her normal personality and like the twisted kind of creepy personality. And you're trying to like learn about your family's past history and figure out like why you are the way you are. So didn't get very good reviews, unfortunately. I guess like the way that you control in Clock Tower is it's like a mouse. So it's like a point and click adventure kind of style, where you're moving the cursor to where you want to look or explore, where you want to hide, etc., etc. And in the first game, you're being chased by a character named Scissorman.
Oh, yes.
And so you're trying to run away from Scissorman. In this one, you can use the PlayStation controller or the PlayStation mouse, which is kind of cool. But yeah, when you move the mouse cursor over like certain things, like it changes, so that way you can like click it, interact with it, put stuff in your inventory, etc., etc. So that's kind of the game. But I don't know too much about it. I've never played it before, but it doesn't sound very good in comparison with the other Clock Tower releases. I know the first one's like very well regarded, so I don't know if this is the game that kind of sunk them. You know what I mean?
It is towards the end of their run. I think that it was, 1999 or 2000 that they broke up or went under? So, I mean, it's a little ways out there. Maybe it was the start or the harbinger.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, 99, they declared bankruptcy, and this game came out in 98.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good point. There's a good chance that this game broke them financially. It did come out in November of 99, so a whole year and change after, because it came out in March in 98 in Japan.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it didn't sell well, didn't get very good reviews. They put all their eggs in that basket. Actually, they didn't even publish it in North America. It was published by Age Tech. So, yeah, so there you go. But that is that. One of the reasons I didn't pick a track from Clock Tower 1 is because we played tracks from Clock Tower 1.
Yeah.
And I thought about like doing the remake, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stick with the PS1 sequel. So
That's fair.
yeah. We already talked about Kaori, so we can move on to our next. Oh, it looks like, I guess we're getting our last track is going to be a caller request, and it looks like it's coming from the Patreon hotline, which is interesting. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I'm eager to hear who's behind that line.
Yeah. Janine, why don't you send that on over?
XVGM Radio, who is this and what can we play for you?
Oh, sorry, me again.
Oh, Robo Mike?
Great.
Weren't you going to go and find something to do?
I was in the middle of oiling myself when I got a message from patron Cam Warma.
Why
Oh.
did you get a message from Cam?
I programmed him to do that so that, like, if Janine was on a bathroom break, which it looks like she's already run off to the bathroom, like, yeah, so I guess Cam couldn't get to the phone. Maybe Cam's on a bathroom break. I don't know.
Oh, that's fair. All right, Robo Mike, what do you got there?
Just so you know, I have a testimonial from Cam Warma.
So what track did he pick?
That would be Fire Pro Wrestling on the Game Boy Advance. It came out in 2001. And the
Okay.
game
All right. Oh, God. We got it. Hang up. There we go. All right. So, Menu is the track that Cam has picked, and it's by Yusuke Beppu. Hey, you're back. And that was our final pick from patron Cam Worma, Fire Pro Wrestling. This came out in the Game Boy Advance in 2001, and that was the menu track by Yusuke Beppu. Just a quick clarification regarding who made this game. So this was published by Spike Co. Limited, which in and of itself was created back in 1989. I'm not going to go into the full details about Spike, but long story short, they established a game company, like a subsidiary company called Vale, and that had former human staff in November of 1999. So yeah, and it was eventually absorbed back into Spike. So Vale became Spike at that point. So it's all pretty much like Human Entertainment people,
Right,
and they got
right.
the license.
I was going to say, and this was a Human Entertainment franchise,
Right.
So it makes sense. So for all intents and purposes, this was still a Human Entertainment game, even if it was published after they went bankrupt.
Right. Yep.
And as far as the song goes, I mean, you could have told me this was from a Mega Man game, and I would have been like, "Yep,
Oh,
it
yeah.
it definitely is."
Yeah,
because-
it's got that really energetic vibe.
Well, it's got that vibe, and it's got the sound font. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many things going on there that I'm just like, this is Mega Man is going through Wrestling Man's lair.
I was going to say it sounds like a password section.
Oh, I can see that too. Okay,
I could see password
Yep.
or stage select.
Yep.
Not quite as busy as the stage select sounds are for music, but yeah, or like level loading or whatever. Yeah, this also kind of gave me vibes, not of the Super NES, but I'd say more in line with like something in between, Super NES and like in Game Boy Advance. So they did a good job with the sound font and style.
Yeah, no. I mean, it very much reminded me of the NES Capcom, specifically Mega Man sound font. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
I've seen this box art so many times back in the day, like working at a game store.
Oh, yeah?
Like around this time, I worked at like Toys R Us. I don't remember if this was a launch title or not, but like I definitely saw this box art like floating around when I was working at a game store. So pretty neat. All the characters are like fake wrestlers, but they're based on real people or fictional characters. Like there's a wrestler called the Bionic Man Steve Majors, and he's just like Stone Cold Steve Austin, like rip off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they did a lot of that where they like would take actual wrestlers and just change some things on them and put them in the game so that it was all like legal.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, and the Wraith Mystery Man being Rey Mysterio. I get it. I get it.
Yep. So, pretty cool. Cam did send a testimonial for us to read, so I'll go ahead and read that for him. I love it when an incidental track like a menu, leaderboard, or segue is way more of a banger than it has any business being. Such is the case with this one. After a couple minutes of rocking out, you forget you have a match to get to, which is fine because the whole OST is fire. I see what I did there. I didn't write that. He wrote that part. And then he goes on to say, I get strong Tim Fallen vibes from this track in particular, which is a vibe that works really well in the game. I grew up mostly playing the 16-bit WWF games of the 90s, so Fire Pro feels a little strange, largely because the WWF games had no in-game music. This reason alone, amplified by the fact that the music is great, makes Fire Pro a superior game. That and the actual wrestling is more varied, interesting, and realistic. Great soundtrack, great game, arguably the best of the 2D wrestling genre. Wow. High praises from Mr. Worma. I'll have to see if I can track this one down. Yeah, pretty cool. I've seen it everywhere, so it shouldn't be hard. I don't have any experience playing this one, but I've certainly seen it around. But I really want to check out more of the soundtrack because I was digging this for sure. Yeah. Yusuke Beppu is the composer on this one, and they started off with Buckle Up in 1998 on the PlayStation. They did some Beatmania stuff as well on the Game Boy Color. One of the reasons why you may be hearing Mega Man is because they did Mega Man Battle Chip Challenge on the WonderSwan Color and the Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
So maybe there. Games like Fudu Fudu Park on the Wii, English of the Dead, which came out in 2008 on the Nintendo DS, they did sound on. Their last game was Lord of Magna Made in Heaven, which came out in 2015 on the Nintendo 3DS. They did sound effects. Composition-wise, their last game was Namco Museum Essentials in 2009 on the PS3. Yep. So that brings us to the end of the Human Entertainment episode Spotlight. I gotta say, there's some really good tracks in here. It's gonna be tough to, as always, to pick one of our favorites. pretty interesting that we got to learn a little bit about like where a lot of these people ended up. So I think that is the takeaway from this, that Human Entertainment had a very short lifespan of about probably just over 10 years and then kind of faded into existence, got wrapped up in with a bunch of other companies and went on to do some cool stuff. So
yeah, it was a fun journey through their properties.
yeah, for sure. So time to pick a track.
Yeah.
Justin, what's your favorite?
Good question. I enjoyed my Waku Waku Ski Wonder Spur track, Rainbow, and your Stage 3 from Kabuki Quantum Fighter was also a lot of fun. I think those are probably top of my list right there.
The tremolo one was the Blazing Tornado, right? If I recall. That was really cool. I'm going to go with that one as my favorite, with a runner-up being Kabuki Quantum Fighter, because I just absolutely love that whole soundtrack. So
That's fair. And Cam's pick was actually really high up there too. Like I said,
Same.
Anything that reminds me of Mega Man, I'm just like,
I'm in.
All right, yeah, I'm down.
Yep.
This is great.
Absolutely. So we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons, without whom this show's continued improvement would be impossible. They are Cam Worma, Rage Cage, Kung Fu Carlito of the Heroes 3 podcast, Scott McElhone, Claire Myers, Reptile, Brad Austin, Chris Murray, Llama Adam, Nick Davis, Ryan McPherson, and Red Hua.
If you would like to become a patron, you can sign up at patreon.com/XVGM Radio. There you can see the different tiers as well. Just $1 gets you a thank you at the end of the show and access to our monthly live shows.
You can visit our website, xvgmradio.com, where you can listen to all the episodes and learn more about your hosts, as well as any of our guests or composers that we've had on the show.
If you'd like to reach out to us, you can always email us at xvgmradio@gmail.com.
If you've liked what you've heard, please consider giving us a review on iTunes.
You can join our Facebook group and chat with other VGM lovers at facebook.com/groups/xvgmradio, where we talk about everything from current game news to sharing awesome VGM tracks, or just talking about the podcast itself.
You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle on both of those sites is @XVGMRadio.
If you don't have any other social media or just want to try something unique, check us out on our Discord group chat. Links will be in the show notes.
So we've got a lot going on this month. Not only are we releasing this in October, but we're also doing our next episode for Spooky Fest, which is our annual Halloween episode. That'll be Spooky Fest 2025, and that's episode 127, which will debut in late October. And that'll be a lot of fun. We're also doing a VIP live show for that as well, which is called Spooky Fest VIP, where we play songs that didn't make it onto this episode as a special bonus for our patrons. So
yeah, and that's going to be later in the month of October.
So Justin is picking this month's After Dark vinyl. So what did you pick?
So we're going to listen to something out of your collection, the Perfect Dark Lo-Fi album. Very, very chill. I haven't heard it, but I know the Perfect Dark music. And I think with just everything else going on, something kind of relaxed and chill is going to be a nice accompaniment to the month of October.
Definitely the way to go. I agree. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And that'll be on the 14th of October.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then on the 24th of October, we have that live show that you mentioned. We're going to, again, it'll be the XVGM Spooky Fest VIP experience.
Yep. And then shortly after that, the episode comes
the
out.
actual Spooky Fest.
Yes.
And that'll be on the 29th, which is just a couple days before Halloween.
Absolutely. All right. So this is Mike.
And Justin.
Signing off for XVGM Radio. And Masaki Hashimoto. Yeah. Hold on, let me re-say that. And Masaki Hashimoto. But it takes place in 28. Blah, blah, blah. Try that again. The Famicom version of the game is a tie-in to a 1990 Heizo. Wow, I'm really struggling with names here today.